And there's the green light. We're on air. Good evening, everybody. My name is Gary. I run the harmonicaband.com website poorly, and we are going to be playing some really lovely tunes tonight. And we'll typically have a few people in the chat bar out and listening, and a few people not in the chat bar listening, and then we'll probably have lots more than that eventually watching these recordings. Thank you all for being here, and thank y'all. Who's y'all? Thank you for being here. Tonight we're going to be looking at, we missed last week, the schedule's gotten a little wonky around here, having a hard time keeping up with everything, so it's nice to get a chance to finally sit down and play some harmonica. We have, sound is good and monetization is off. Yes, Vic, thank you for checking in on me. Tonight, well, we've started getting back to the notes and scales on the both the diatonic and chromatic harmonicas. Maybe they're helpful, maybe they're not, but they're a good way to warm up your harmonica at the very least. Then we're going to play Kumbaya on the diatonic harmonica and Buffalo Gals on the diatonic harmonica. And then we will do our chromatic scales. And then we have Daisy Bell is our chromatic song of the day. There are not too many button pushings on it, but it's one of those old-fashioned songs that really sounds good on the harmonica. Something about old songs sounding good on that. And then if we have time, we probably won't, but I might skip By the Light of the Silvery Moon because I still need to slow that MP3 down just even a little bit more. I was playing it today, and it is just a hair too difficult. And then I'll Fly Away. The timing is good on that, and so I don't think we'll have. I think it's set up correctly, and sometimes I'm getting it, and sometimes I'm not. And so maybe we'll play with that one. There was a commercial at the beginning, Vic. Oh, really? Let me go see. I think I can. They gave us a way to edit this. So hold on one second. Let me see. There was a commercial at the beginning. Let me see. Edit. Monetization. Monetization is on. I must have not hit the right button. Now it's off. All right. Thank you, Vic. That's, so now, let me check. All right. Monetization is definitely off now. And, so, all right, so that's good. Help us improve creator monetization during live streams. Oh, they have. Google spends a lot of time surveying me about how I feel about Google. And just do a good job and you don't have to ask. All right. Hey, LG, welcome in. All right, so monetization is now off. Sorry about that, Vic. I definitely went over there and clicked the button, but maybe I didn't hit the there's a second button you're supposed to click. All right, so there's that. Let's play some harmonica. All right, and we got to be done early, guys. Remember, because I got to be done about 7:50 at the latest, so that I can have absolutely shut this stream down and start the ukulele stream. So I'll try to keep an eye on time, and we'll see where we're at in 50 minutes from now. All right, so first, grab your scales. Let's do the diatonic ones. And if you have an iPad like I do, they're called Diatonic Notes in C. And that's our only worksheet for diatonic. It's the only one you need, and it makes for easy conversions if your sheet music is correct. Sheet music is never correct, almost never, for playing diatonic, and so this may or may not be helpful to you. What I want to do today is dig into the A minor scale, make sure that we've been using that as a practice. It goes all the way up to -10. Good chance that I will have some notes not be very pleasant at -10 on a C harmonica, and probably if I'm going to have some bad notes, possibility you might have some bad notes, and we're just going to get used to them again. So we will play the C scale twice and then the A minor scale twice. Okay, and we'll keep in perfect timing the whole way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. We'll keep it as steady as I can, and we'll play both scales twice. So C major, then to the A minor. Start with blow 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fascinating thing about the A minor scale is that's a natural A minor. There's no sharps or flats in it at all. Typically when we're playing in a minor scale, we'll add in a sharp to give it a little oomph. And so there's G sharp is very normal to add into an A minor scale to make it an A harmonic scale. It makes it sound a little more complete. And we don't have G sharps on this. So they are possible to make by overblowing into a whole number 9 and bending that reed a little bit weird so that the higher pitched sound comes out. But I don't personally like doing that. I just soon use a chromatic. It's got a G sharp on it. But that's one of those things that the advanced harmonica players really do a lot of. They will bend those notes up on the high end of the scale to get a little more complete feeling minor scale. And minor scales are pretty handy for making great music. But maybe not on this guy, right? And also, I think the other nice thing about that scale is you really makes you need to breathe from your belly correctly, or those notes in 9 and 8, 9, and 10 are just not going to come out well. So just remember, always be breathing, using your diaphragm. If it starts coming out all weird sounding, you're probably blowing too much from your chest or your neck, sort of forcing the air through, and you usually don't end up with a very good sound that way. Good posture. Breathe with your belly out and in, out and in, out and in. It's actually quite a good respiratory exercise for you just in general. So beautiful. Let's go grab Kumbaya. All right, and I know that Linda and Vic have sat through this discussion 4,000 times. But Kumbaya, the biggest problem with Kumbaya, long notes, okay? And so you want to make sure to count those notes. Kumbaya, my lord, 4, 1, rest. Kumbaya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, rest. Okay? So you really do need to count those in your head, or you will come in early. And then the other place to pay attention to, down here at measure 11, you have a slur in there. 6, 5, 4, okay, and then over at measure 13 you have 5 minus 4, 4 to get that slur. And when you see those slur indications in the standard notation, you want to not tongue between those notes. So instead of going 6 tongue 5 tongue 4, you're going to go 6 5 4, right? Yeah, and that way you get that slur feeling into the harmonica. All right. 3 times through, we'll go kind of fast so we can get through it. Let me hold my harmonica right side up. It'll be helpful. Blow 4. 1, 2. Oh, there's a 2-beat count in. Okay, and then a 2-beat pickup. 1, 2. really fun piece to play. Not hard, and you can really just get great at. I'm trying the whole time I'm playing to think, make it as lyrical as possible, make it sound as much as a human voice as I possibly can, being really thoughtful about how I start a note and end a note. Beautiful, lovely, 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 lovely. All right, Buffalo. This is a good one to memorize, right? Just let your mind dig in and figure it out. All right, Buffalo Gals. All right, so Buffalo Gals is controversial. That's what we're playing, right? Buffalo Gals was from that vaudeville era, which is odd that was ever even a thing. But I like the song because it's in It's a Wonderful Life. And when they're walking home from having jumped in the pool, he accidentally steps on the end of her bathrobe and she jumps into the bush, and they're singing that song at that moment. Now, so it's the only other thing I'll point out is that when you're looking at measure 5, sometimes there's a lyric for every note. Pretty little gal I, right? And sometimes there's not. Feet took up the, right? And that means you would skip those. And then the last one's even more complicated. Danced with a gal with a, right? And so ideally you know those lyrics when you're playing, and they're in your head and you play them, and that's what those parentheses are in the tablature, in the ukulele and guitar tablature. But on harmonica it just says play them all. Well, be thinking about the lyrics as you're rolling through there. If you don't know the lyrics of a song, obviously you want to learn them before you dig in it, before you present it to the public. And so just make sure when you're getting ready to go out busking in the tourist areas that you know the lyrics so that you can get the right number of blow 4s in that one measure. The other thing is we do have a mistake. It's at measure 15. The first note says -6, and it should be -7. Okay, I think Vic found that for me. By the way, I'm 99% sure Scotland the Brave is done. I just haven't managed to actually physically post it on the website yet. And I just got Rainbow Connection from LG. So thank you guys both for continuing to thread stuff to me to make, you keep throwing me softballs and I just need to hit it back, right? Okay, so good. Thank you for that. All right, let's give it a try. Buffalo Gals. You want to do all 4 verses? If we play it kind of fast, we can. Okay, so let's do all 4 verses and let's put the gas on. Okay, I'll start us off at A speed and then speed up or slow down if it feels like we're going too wild. Okay, from the top, 3-beat countdown, blow 6. 1, 2, 3. if it was the second pass or the third pass, my brain went somewhere else, made a ton of mistakes. Isn't that fun, right? Learn the lyrics of that one. It makes it so much more fun to play. It's really quite a pleasant little a little song. Wish it wasn't in out of the vaudeville era, but it is, and so there you have it. Do we know who wrote that? John Hodges. I'm sure he was a lovely character. All right, put these guys away. Let's take a look at our chromatic stuff. Okay. Actually, we might play chromatic on, or we might play diatonic on I'll Fly Away. I have a thought on that today. Chromatic scales. Now, we talked last week about becoming legit musicians, and in order to be legit musicians, you have to play scales. And one of the things with scales is that on lots of instruments, you push a button, and they're all in order, and it's lovely. And then there are other instruments where you have to hold frets and do all sorts of nonsense over here, and it's not so lovely. And then our instrument is really not lovely because, as not tonight, this is a straightforward scale. It's button all the way through. Everything is a sharp. But as we get into the other scales, you're going to be pushing a button and not pushing a button and having to constantly be rethinking that through. If you decide that you're going to become a world-class player of this, you have to memorize all of those. Or use tablature, right? Use tablature to learn the song. That's what I always say. Use that to learn the song. And then if you decide, hey, this song's worth becoming famous over, then you memorize the song, right? And you memorize what you need to do on it. But to just memorize all the notes feels really weird on this instrument. It's different than trumpet, because on trumpet, I don't know, there's a pattern and a feeling to it. This is just one button. It's either in or it's out. And sometimes on some of these scales, there's a lot of feels a little awkward. And so tonight we're going to play C sharp major, and it says all sharps, and that's the beauty of it, right? You just push the button in and play a C major scale, and you'll be perfectly happy. All right, so we're going to start at measure number 2, I guess, is how I have them numbered, and buttons in, okay, and when you have a minute on your own, take time to listen to the difference between C major and C sharp major. They're played exactly the same, but there is quite a bit of a different feeling to them, which is interesting. So, and then the hardest part, I think, with the chromatic is getting your sound chamber together so that you can do some wah-wah stuff. Obviously on scales you don't do much of that, but coming up with a way to hold it where you can actually have some ability to adjust your sound with your hands while you're still pushing the button. Sometimes I'll play, depending on what it is, and I will use my thumb, right? Other times I will have this sort of at an angle and be doing this. Sometimes I just pretend to have a chamber while I'm doing this and get what I can out of it. So lots of possibilities here, and if your job is to try to find different ways to hold this where you can still get to the button. I don't think there's a right answer to it, but whatever makes you fastest is usually the right answer. Okay. Or as the most reliable when you're starting out. All right, buttons in. Here we go. 2 times through measure number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. pleasant. A musical thing that I was working on there that I think you at least should know about, generally speaking, when music has a rising action, we tend to get louder as well. And so you get a little bit of a dynamic phrasing on ups when music's going this direction. And then we tend to get a little quieter when it's coming down this direction. Nothing on here says to do that. You just kind of know that, right? You're leading up to this kind of dramatic high point. You want that probably be the loudest moment, and then as you're coming down to the lowest moment, you probably want that to be a tiny bit quieter. All right, so there we go. So there's your C sharp. Now next week is really a lot different experience, right? If you look at the D flat major scale, first of all, this would be an advanced piano player that actually tackles a scale like this. We can do it because it's just knowing when to push the buttons. But just know that this is a pretty challenging scale. You've got 5 notes that are going to require the button and 3 that do not. And so you're button, button, no button, 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 no button, 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 right? So it's going to be real easy to goof that up. And then, of course, a lot of times, I don't know if that's just happened to you, but sometimes it says when you're playing button, button, not button, button, not button, you also tend to get a little confused as to blow, draw, blow, draw, blow, blow, draw, blow, draw. And it's very normal for me to see a draw, push the button even though I don't need to, and make the wrong note come out. So we're going to, I don't know, don't work on it necessarily, but maybe play through it once or twice before next week's class so you get a sense of how difficult that is. And again, you are with equal temperament on a piano. That's the way they tune pianos. Every key has a little bit different feeling to it. I think on a harmonica there is a little bit of a different feeling between scales, not near as much as on piano, but kind of as you're playing through a scale like that, think about what kind of song would go with this scale. Right? What feeling does that give to me? And each of these will be just a slightly bit different idea. You know, fast zombies versus slow zombies or something like that. And one of these days, when I get over, one of these days we'll put together the minor scales as well. And those, of course, feel very, very different because they have a sad or important or dramatic feeling that the major scales don't have. Beautiful. All right, there's our scales. Now, let's go take a look at Daisy Bell. That is one of my all-time favorite songs. I do not know why. I think it is simply a brilliant piece of music. And on our piece of music, you notice the first thing you do that happens when you open up this piece is it says diatonic or chromatic, and you're like, sweet, I can play it on either, and you can, and we're going to. Okay, so we are doing final time. So what I'm going to do is first we're going to play it on chromatic because that's what we have in our hand, and then let's try playing it on diatonic, and then we'll talk about why you want to have a diatonic harmonica that's lower than C. Because C is going to feel real high and in your face. The chromatic was obviously a full octave lower, and it's just going to sound really pleasant. Okay, so on chromatic, if it says a if you can also do it on diatonic, you know there's not going to be any button pushing. Okay, so start on number 7, and let's see how you come out. This arrangement's in 4. Some arrangements are in 3, but ours is in 4, so make sure you're paying attention to the actual length of the notes, not the song in your head. Because some of you have the 3/4 song in your head, and some of you have the 4/4 song in your head, and so you want to count your notes. So as you're looking at the tabs, also be peeking up to see the length of the notes in the standard notation. It's pretty important. 1, 2, that's too slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to start again. I don't think I'm playing the right notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going along, I'm playing along, everything's going great, the right sounds are coming out. I get to the second line, my eye immediately goes to the diatonic notes. Have you ever done that? And I'm playing the notes, my body is telling me where to go on the harmonica, but my eyes are like, you should be higher up because these numbers are higher. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong? And then midway through Major 9, the psychobabble reached a critical point where I just crushed into my noggin and I wasn't able to continue. We're going to start from the top. We're playing the bottom line. We're starting with blow 7. Stick to it, Gary. You'll be fine. 1, 2. Oh, Vic is saying, I prefer the diatonic version. So she's playing the diatonic while I'm playing the chromatic, and I bet we sound amazing, right? Because I'm playing a lower and she's playing a higher. All right, we'll play it 1 through on chromatic. Then I'm going to switch, and then we'll play it the other way. So make you figure out which way you like best. From the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. Can't beat it, man. It's just really, really nice tones. Let's grab our diatonic. Okay, and you can stay on chromatic if you want. Let's see what happens. Vic says she likes it. It's a lot harder on diatonic, I think, because of the high notes. Okay? Sorry, my phone, my sunset alarm went off in the middle of that. It's not quite sunset yet, but getting there. All right. Measure 9. 9. Oh my gosh, way up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, also quite lovely, a little bit high pitched, right? If I grab my F harmonica, low F, it'll sound much more in the range. It will no longer be in the key of C if I'm playing with an F harmonica, but it'll have a little bit more pleasant overall tonality. To wit, I won't play the whole thing, but just listen. Okay, and again, I'm just playing the same tablature that I was playing with the other diatonic, but this harmonica is set up to play at a lower pitch. And so when we learn a song, we learn everything in C, and then you're like, wait, I'm going to go out and play this over at the bus stop, and I want to, put my tip jar out in front of me. You're probably thinking, I'm just going to play the diatonic stuff because it's maybe a little easier. and I use a lower pitched harmonica for the songs with those high notes in there, and it just kind of generally feels a little more pleasant to listen to. Obviously there's great harmonica players out there who can make those super high pitched sounds sound great, but that's just extra work for who, you know. I mean, I don't know how serious you are about harmonica. Maybe it should be you. All right. So there's Daisy Bell. Isn't that fun? Designed to be played twice through, but the words don't change. So a lot of the songs I have set up are to be played twice through are just to make them longer. It's not really because the song needs to be played twice. This is one of those songs. All right, lovely song, one of my favorites. All right, now, Linda, yes, you can use the same tabs for the F. However, what happens then is if you are playing an ensemble, so if I go with the F harmonica, everything's exactly the same, except if you're playing ukulele or guitar along with them. Okay, so in this case we're in the key of C, and the notes are meant to be played on a C harmonica, and that means that your first chord is a C chord, then another C chord, then an F chord, then back to C, then G7, and so on. If you switch harmonicas to an F, those chords will no longer make any sense, and so you have to transpose the chords. Okay, and so if you're going with the F harmonica and you started with a C harmonica, it's not rocket science. You're like, okay, so the first chord must be F, must be. Okay, so you're going to play an F chord along with the first four notes, another F chord at measure 2, and then when you get to the F chord that's in measure 3, you have to think, all right, my original chord key was C, C, D, E, F. Okay, so now the F on the original is a 4. So if now I'm playing an F, F, G, A, B flat. So now you're going to play F, 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 B flat, me, B flat, your answer, F chord, do. Okay, and then whereas C, D, E, F, and G7 would be on our 5 because that's the A, B, or C, D, E, F, G, G7 in this case. So if you're playing in the key of F, then it's F, A, B, F, G, A, B flat, and then C7 is what would be there. So in other words, if I'm on a guitar or ukulele, and I know, hey, I'm going to use my F harmonica, I know I have to transpose those chords. F, F, B flat, F. I'm playing the melody wrong. So it's going to be F2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, B flat 2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, C7, 2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, and then A minor is going to be the 6th, and in the key of F, your 6 is a D minor. So the way to do that is go grab that ukulele chord chart off of the website and line it up vertically. And so if you were originally in the key of C and those were the chords, then you just convert them into whatever is on the F line, and you can play that. And again, that's for ensemble play, and that's one of our focuses at this website, is to begin playing with other musicians with our instrument. And so knowing that, at least the theory behind it, some more advanced players, guys with college education or whatever, they can just do it on site. A lot of really good barroom players can do it by ear, sort of thing. But for me, I always have to sit down and handwrite everything out. All right, that's going to be F, then another F, then a B flat. A minor is now D minor. Okay, D7 is now A7, and so you will start to get better, I think, is the way to put it, at seeing those relationships the more you do it. But even still, after many years of doing that, I don't do a ton of transposing, so it's not in second nature to me, and I usually just go ahead and with pencil handwrite it in. All right, they're going to use an F harmonica, or if you're using a G harmonica, you also have to do the same thing. And so just handwriting in the chords that you're going to play. Then they play their harmonica part. I play the guitar ukulele part. Everybody's happy. I'm just strumming along, and they're the star, and it makes for a good time. So yeah, so that's transposing. It's easy to talk about. It's really pretty hard to get started doing it, and then eventually, if you do it a lot, you get good at it. Okay, Daisy Bell. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to use I'll Fly Away, the MP3, and I want to play it both with Diatonic and with Chromatic. So grab either one of yours, and I'm going to pull up the I'll Fly Away MP3. Let me see if this is too loud. I think that's probably not loud enough, honestly. So I can't tell exactly how loud this is at your house, but I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, and probably help cover up my bad playing. And then, all right, so we're going to play I'll Fly Away, and let me pull up sheet music here. H-I-J-K, I'll Fly Away. So the first time through, we will play on whichever harmonica is in your hand. Okay, I guess I'll start with Chromatic as well. Okay, so oh, here's a great example. This song's in the key of G, right? So we're going to have a G chord, G chord, G chord, G chord. But notice on your tablature that you're starting with draw notes. Okay, so this tablature is all in G, but it just the song is in G, but it just so happens that it will work on a diatonic harmonica. But you're playing in what they call second position, and I don't want to dive into that because it'll melt your brain, but the idea here is you can play it on diatonic or you can play it on chromatic, both on C harmonicas, but you're starting with draw notes, and that changes the way you use your harmonica. And a lot of times this will be done on purpose. They'll grab a song that's in the key of G and then use a C harmonica because that gives them draws, and that means you can bend more easily and give it that kind of bluesy feel to it, which is kind of fun. So let's start with the chromatic in C, probably, and then I'm going to hit play. We're going to play through it once, maybe twice if I don't do so well, and then we're going to switch and do it on the diatonic, and you'll get a sense of the difference in sound and feeling, and what's more fun. So let's try at least one time on chromatic, maybe twice, okay? And if you already have the diatonic in your hand, play with that, okay? I'm doing a draw 4. All right, and I will try to count you in as well, okay? So I got it ready to go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to go again, right? So you can see it's not hard until it's hard, and then it's really hard. Okay? But I think the one thing that playing with these MP3s will probably do for you is get where you just don't care about bad notes nearly as much as you do if you don't have them. And it's going to speed you up and make you a little tougher, a little bit more bulletproof. And so please take time to pull these MP3s up. Most of them on the website are too fast, and I am planning on slowing lots of them down to make them a little more doable. And that's once we get through the whole list of songs, then that's my goal, is to have all of them updated and slowed down by then. But the thing that I noticed is I was doing okay till I got to 11, and then all of a sudden I'm like, -1, and once you get a little off, then you're a lot off, sort of thing. When that happens, you go look at 13, you got a nice long note there, get that note right, and maybe give up on what's going on there and move on to whatever's coming next. So don't give up on the song, even though you made some mistakes. Just get to the next note that you think you can pull off, wait there for us to catch up to you, play that note, and then get back in the game. That's a very musical thing, and this happens to every single musician ever. So once in a while you get lost, or you're just screwing up a measure, or something's just not going right. Just let it go, move on to the next thing you know you can do, and jump right back in. And it's a skill. It's not something you're born with. You really do have to practice that. When I first started playing, the idea of if I fell out, there was no getting back in, and so I had to train myself to be like, okay, you screwed up, that's the last measure, to forget about it, it's gone, let's move on to this next measure and dial it in. Definitely a musicianly type skill that needs to be developed. All right, now I didn't try this on diatonic earlier, so I'm hoping it works. Okay, and you'll hear it much higher pitch, right? And so that's louder, that higher pitched diatonic sound is going to pierce right through that banjo we're playing up against, and you're going to be much more obvious, be much more out there in front and be very famous. That's when you got to buy a hat and sunglasses, because you don't want people to, you don't want them to fall in love with you too quickly. And then you just be aware your mistakes will be more obvious, right? Because you're playing diatonic at a higher pitch, and we'll see what happens when we do this. All right, I'm going to start the MP3 over. If things are going well, I'll play it 2 times through. If I'm having a mess, then we'll play it 3 times through. Okay, here we go. And I won't count it in this time because it felt kind of weird, but it's fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do. All right, what's my first note? Right there. And go. More time. So it's interesting how you can get the little riff down, right? And you play it once pretty good, then you mess it up 6 times in a row, and then at some point you play it well again, and you're like, I'm killing it here, right? So the beginning of the MP3 is a shock. Then I lost yeah. So the beginning of this, look at your time signature or your tempo signature up there at the top. Quarter note equals 160. I think it might be the fastest song I've ever arranged. I mean, bam, 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 go, right? And so you're sort of like, right? And you practice it a couple times, you'll be fine. But when you see a time signature like that, that's going to mean that those quarter notes are coming at you pretty quick, right? And the reason we get away with it is because most of the song is whole notes, tied whole notes or half notes. And so that means when you do get to those quarter notes, which is where I would typically be messing up, those feel like eighth notes because they're coming by so fast, right? And the main reason I arrange it in that speed is because I actually arranged this for a banjo player friend of mine, and he's got to do all these arpeggios in his part, which you can hear on the MP3. And so that's what banjo players do, is arpeggiate like mad. So if that's a verb. All right, guys, lovely to see all of you and to play some harmonica. I always feel so much, even if I play terrible, I always feel better that I did on my harmonica stuff than any other instrument. With a lot of times, if I come in and I'm giving a guitar lesson, I play badly, I walk away and I'm like, I should just quit music. But not with harmonica. Some days it goes well, some days it doesn't. Who cares? We're playing harmonica. It's fun. So thank you guys for being here. I'll see you somewhere down the road, and thank you guys for being here. Great workout, Linda says. Yeah, right. Have a good night, you guys. Peace.